Okay, we're live. So thank you everyone for joining us to this month's session of Kitchener-Waterloo Video Tech Meetup. Today we welcome Nicolás Levy. He's the organizer of the summer projects at the Montevideo Summer Camp, and he has some open source projects that he wanted to talk about that they were working on as part of the camp. So uh, go ahead.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. So yeah, today I come here to talk to you about some of the stuff we were doing on the Montevideo Summer Camp this year, or what we call, in particular, the summer projects. Just to give you a quick overview of what is the Montevideo Summer Camp. It's a it's an event we created in the Montevideo Meetup, the organization. So the idea is it's an event in our summer in Uruguay. We are in the south of the world, so it's your winter. So it's a great, it's great to escape some days from the winter, go to the summer beach and all that kind of stuff. So the idea is it's an event to create meaningful connections, also to give something back to the community. We also want to promote what we call the collaborative culture, and of course, as I said, just discover Uruguay, the country we belong to and we love. So this year, the in-person part of the summer camp was just 1 week in March, but we also work in the projects for a whole month. So what's the idea of the summer projects? Uh, if we see the goals of the summer camps, we want to give back to the video community and we want to promote the collaborative culture. So the idea of the summer projects is to create value to the video community in just 1 month of work, while learning and also sharing knowledge each other, and to create some open source projects or whatever that can bring, again, value to the community. So everything started on DMAX last year. Maybe you remember, JP went to the station, a lightning talk, and made a call for proposals, saying, hey, do you have any project you would like us to create or to work on the summer camp? So bring your ideas. And that was great because we have 6 proposals from very different people: Pat, Casey, Yuri, Alex, Will, and Phil. They all bring together some ideas and say, hey, this could be the projects you could work on. And well, it was like a lot of stuff. Previous year, we only have 2 ideas for projects, so it was easier to choose what to do. And so as we had more projects over the table, we did a meetup where we present all the projects. The main ideas were to add CMCD to VHGS library, to work on the common media library. I will explain what is that. Also to add content steering in ExoPlayer, create a CMAF-HAM library. I will explain what is that. Also to create an open source low latency HLS origin, and to work and create a fast channel scheduler. So those were the 6 proposals we had. And what we did is just like, yeah, let's create a poll. Hey, community, what is from these ideas, what do you think brings more value to you? And also you're willing to work on, because yeah, the idea is also we need some people to work on these ideas. And from the results, we have like, okay, let's add features to the common media library that I will explain what is that project about, and also to create a proof of concept of what we now call the CMAF-HAM library. So let's talk about those projects that we have been working on and see also some of the results we got. First of all, the common media library. This is a project that Casey brought to us, and also he has been working on this project before the summer camp, mainly on a proposal in SBTA, if you know the SBTA organization, in the players and playback group. He is part of the group, and he presented this project. And he said, hey, guys, as a community, we have a big issue. If you see open source players as Dash.js, HLS, Shaka Player, Video.js, and any other player, they have a lot of copy-paste code, and that makes it's difficult to maintain. What happens if you fix a bug of another player in, I don't know, maybe in ID3, for example, some ID3 implementation, and you found a bug, then you have to patch all players and things like that. Also, for example, hey, if you want, look at this example. This is when CMCD appeared. Will Law wrote in each of the players, hey, why don't you add CMCD in Dash.js, in HLS.js, in Shaka Player? And at the end, everyone implemented maybe it's same kind of functions or whatever, to how to write a query with adding the query params that CMCD needs, and a lot of duplicate code over the open source players. Also notice that it's sometimes not in the very core of the player. Knowing what I mean by core, maybe like the IBR algorithm or whatever. Maybe it's just a dummy function to create or to add or to, I don't know, the CMCD query params, or maybe just to extract from ID3 some data that doesn't have a secret sauce. It's just a very dummy function that we don't want them to fail. And also, this is an example. This is if you go to the GitHub repo, HLS.js or Shaka Player. Now this is an example of the code of ID3. So as you can see, it's copy paste plus some changes in just the style of the code, but it's the same code. So Casey brought this issue and the idea to create this common mail library. That idea is to put together all the again, all the common functions or things we need in the players, and use it like a library for all other players, and maybe in the future not just players, that can use the functions to do whatever they need to do. And you can see, I will share to you in the chat the link if you want to check out the project. That's the GitHub repository. And well, we work on that in the summer projects, and we, in just 1 month of work, 1 month and plus some days or 2 weeks, we bring some some commits or some new code for the library, and that was great. So we added 3 new modules to the common media library. The first one was ID3. We improved the ID3 functions implementation in the common media library. Also, we worked on the CEA 608, 708. That's not finished yet. We are still doing the pull request, but it's great because we were able to merge a lot of code and also working in some common functions to implement or to improve the content steering stuff for players. As a quick overview, also we did for the common mail library, we did a refactor of the ID3 functions on HLS.js, and that's, thank you, Rob, for everything. So this is a part of a presentation that people from Qualabs did after the summer camp, that we faced some learnings we have. For example, that the original ID3 code that we took, or I think Casey was the first one who put some part of the code, was different from HLS and Dash.js, because they had an extended header. So we also this is the part of merging different implementations of players of almost the same stuff. So we include that parsing in the common media library. And we have a great feedback from Rob saying, hey, just refactor is not enough to make a pull request or to approve a pull request. So we also, again, taking a look of all the implementations of ID3 over there in different players. We add all the tests we could to the library. We added some other tests that in HLS.js was not for the helper functions, and also the APIC in the common media library. We also added that functionality, that is to send a small picture of the disc or the artist or whatever, if you're sending them music or whatever. And so it is ready in Common Media Library. I think it's not implemented in HLS.js. Maybe Rob can check that, but it's something that is already there, so it could be also something to improve in HLS.js. So well, that was great. This is the merge done. It was just, it will be merged. Woohoo, awesome. Thanks, Rob. It will, this is the merge of the, again, from the what we working on the common on the summer camp. So great. And also we're still finishing the pull request to the common library about this module, but just to show you again the same issue as with ID3. This is a screenshot of the two Dash.js and HLS.js. You can see almost the same code for the same functionality. So and this is the open request that we are just fixing some stuff to add the new functions to the command media library. And so those were the results for the command media library that we are very proud about. Another thing to notice that I think it's great, and it's part of the heart of the summer camp, is that a lot of people that work on this, they have no previous experience with players. And as I said, it's very important for us, again, that it's also a learning experience for people working on the projects. And it was great because, again, people that never worked with players and they didn't know what ID3 was or what was CEA 608, 708, they learn a lot of stuff while doing and also bring value to the community. And that's one of the things that we are most proud about. And so let's go to the second project, the CMAF-HAM library. So this was a project that Alex Zambelli brought to the table. And he said like this: hey, we are constantly switching content from HLS to Dash and vice versa. You know, a lot of times you need to have an HLS content. Again, you need to create the Dash version or whatever, and it's sometimes it's difficult. Also, we are doing a lot of manifest manipulation by doing regex. You know, just going to a manifest and, hey, I need to change the language of this track because it's not okay, or I need to remove this track because I want to create a content that is downloadable to download from the client. So I don't want the client to download all the renditions. I just wanted to download the highest rendition possible. And for that, we are doing a lot of, regex sometimes. And so what Alex proposed is that when CMAF came out, he said that maybe no one paid a lot of attention to the CMAF hypothetical application model that can help us to do things better. And if you see CMAF hypothetical application model is the HAM, and it's fun because the HAM is the thing in the middle that we are going to use between HLS and Dash. And the CMAF logical model, this hypothetical application model, is something that if you go to the CMAF standard, you will see that CMAF talks a lot about how the segments, how you have to create the segments, all the headers they need, all the stuff. But in the first chapters, it explains this model that is just, hey, in this standard, we are going to talk about what is a CMAF header, what is a segment, what is a chunk, what is a track file, and a lot of concepts that the manifests are going to implement, or like what is a selection set, a switching set, a line switching set, a CMAF track, all that kind of concepts that are sometimes more abstract, that any manifest, the CMAF standard doesn't talks about manifest. They just said a manifest will have some resources. It's going to point to these things we are going to talk about, the header, segments, chunks, or whatever. And this is the logical structure that a manifest will have. And so if you see the standard and you compare what is implemented in Dash and HLS, when, for example, in CMAF, when they talk about the selection set, the implementation of that in Dash is an adaptation set group or a rendition group in HLS. Or, for example, a track, as in when the CMAF standard talks about a CMAF track, when we are talking, of course, of CMAF in Dash, that it's a representation, or in HLS, it's a media playlist, the media playlist we are used to work. And segment is a segment everywhere, and that's great. So the idea of this library was to use this concept, again, of how we can write a common stuff or define how to express what is a content, what resources you need to play a content, and create a kind of library based on the CMAF spec, on the HLS- interoperability spec, that is a CTA recommendation, I think. Also the MPEG- of course, spec and the HLS spec. Create a library, and that's why HAM is the thing in the middle, that works, to translate CMAF HLS to CMAF- and vice versa. And also it could be used to, for example, just import HLS and to export again the same HLS, but with, I don't know, remove some tracks, but not doing with regex, but do it programmatically using changing the model itself. So this was a very abstract idea. So what we did to understand what we had to do in a proof of concept of this, we created a set of meetings, with a lot of people over there. It was great because there were people who works in Dolby, Paramount, Qualas, Max, Bitmovie, Disney, WOSA, and it was great because we have a lot of people who understand about the domain of this problem, bringing their insights or ideas or use cases, and it was very fun to just to try to create a scope for this idea together, and that was for me was a very fun and insightful experience. And what we came out after the just definition of, okay, we have this idea, what should we build? We created a tiny scope that, okay, we need to define in the what is the HAM model, because just to write it down in Node, we decided to use Node.js. Also to only work on clear VOD content for proof of concept, not get very complicated with DRM or low latency Dash or low latency HLS or whatever, just the proof of concept that works with VOD. Just for proof of concept, just work at manifest level, not try to convert a non-CMAF content to CMAF or whatever. Also to, of course, to whatever we do, export content that is playable by a web player, and we decided also to publish this as part of the common media library because we thought that this makes sense. This could be kind of helper functions or library or whatever that you may want to use or in a player or in a maybe in other contexts, but like again some common stuff we always do or always need as video developers. And the main use cases we wanted to cover was, again, to convert HLS and Dash to HAM, so like import the content, programmatically modify the content, like manipulation, also validate the structure of the model, because, for example, hey, I can have, for example, in a rendition switch, you can say, okay, change from this in this ladder, you have to change for an audio to a video. Oh no, that's wrong. That will break the content. So we need to do some validation to know if what you are changing in the content, it's okay. And also to export the content. And so as results, I want to show you the result of this project, but going through an example. So in this example, just to show you some very basic code that you can write using this proof of concept. The idea is to convert the Dash to the model, to the HAM model. Then we will fix an issue in a track attribute that we will find. Also, we are going to validate the presentation, just show you how to use that function, and export to HLS and export to Dash. So first, this is the input manifest we are Dash manifest that we are using. It's a very basic Dash content. It just have one audio and one video, and it's a segment list. So each of those URLs is just going to one segment of video or audio. So it's a very, very basic example. So the first thing we're going to use to do is to import the function dash to ham that exports the library. And as you can see in the code, we are just reading the manifest that we have it on a file system. And we're just using this dash to ham that it's going to return the ham model, or as we saw, it is a presentation in the hypothetical application model. This is a presentation. Note that we have another function that is HLS to ham. So we have both that to ham and HLS to ham. So the presentation again this is what we wrote in the model. It's almost, as you can see, all the same structure as the spec represents. That is, you have a presentation that is, if you remember here, a presentation is a period on Dash, and it's again a presentation on HLS. A presentation that have a selection set, that have switching sets and tracks. That a track could be a video track, an audio track, a text track with different attributes that I don't put all the attributes over there just to simplify the diagram. And of course, a track has segments. And if we just export this as JSON, the model we have in the script, we are going to see this. That if you can see, we have the selection sets, the switching sets, the tracks, and the segments, and it's just again a JSON representing all the content with its in each track. Or for example, you can see that we have some attributes as bandwidth, codec, duration, and things like that. And so to continue with the example, imagine that we want to fix an issue we have in this manifest. That is, hey, we have language undefined, and we know that it's in Spanish, for example. So we are going to continue writing down our script, and just going to import a function that we created there that it's called get tracks from presentation. And from the presentation object we got when we do the dash to ham, we are just going to say, okay, this is a presentation. Give me all the tracks that matches with this function. This boolean, that's a predicate that will, if you see, it says return track language equal undefined. So each track that it has that property will be added to the array of tracks returned by the function. And after that, we just said, okay, tracks for each track, we're just going to change the language to Spanish. And in the code, just print the JSON of that presentation. And as you can see, now the language that was wrong at the beginning, now it says, okay, this is a track that it's in Spanish. So great. This is like the case of manipulation, manifest manipulation that we used to do, as Alex said, in regex. So we're doing programmatically, and yeah, that's great. So also we added the concepts of validated presentation, because and this is just one function that you can import from the library. That the idea is you can use this validate presentation. You send a presentation over there, and that function will tell you will return to you if the presentation is valid or not. And what it means if it's valid or not. Well, right now it doesn't have a lot of validations, but the idea is to try to we do a cascade validation, like from the presentation. Let's check if everything in this presentation is okay. So let's check if everything in the tracks is okay, and so on and so on. So the idea is try to, for example, to return all the errors that were found in the presentation, like, for example, as it says over there, hey, these two video tracks have different durations. That should be an issue. Or, for example, you have different track types in the same switching set. So you have an audio and a video in a switching set. No, that's wrong. A switching set must have or all audio or all video or all text track or whatever. So the idea is to implement to do this cascade again validation to tell the user if the content is okay or not, so you can fix it. This is not something that we are going to try to, if it's not valid, you cannot export the content, because maybe you have some use case that something that it's not valid for some strange reason works in your player or whatever, and we are used to work with a lot of strange edge cases where you have to do bad things. So the idea is just to give you like a new tool to know if your content is valid or not. Or even you can write down your own validation and use, again, another function to validate as you need. But the idea is we are going to provide some basic validation for the main issues or main stuff that it's important. And again, the idea is that this could be extensible. And just a note, if you see the code after this, we just implemented the idea of the cascade validation and did maybe 2 or 3 validations, not a lot of stuff, but it is to continue working on that in the future. And now we're going to export the content to Dash, and this is going to be also, as you can see now in the code, we are going to use the ham to Dash function. It will be very simple. The Dash to ham function will have an input that is an array of presentation, because in fact that presentation, as we saw, it's a period in Dash. So the idea is that this function could receive an array or more than one period and export a Dash manifest with all the periods presentations that we want to create the content. And that returns a manifest object. That manifest object is just a tiny model that will have a manifest. That is a string that is the manifest itself is the text, the manifest we want to export to file system. Also like maybe the file name and some auxiliary manifest, because if we are doing HLS, those auxiliary manifests are going to be the playlists. So you have to, just go through the objects and export all the manifests that the functions are going to return to you. And we also think that maybe in the future, for example, cases like interstitials, and now that we have some kind of something similar to HLS interstitials in Dash, in the new version of Dash, the 6th edition, there is something similar to interstitials. So maybe it could be also used for that. So yeah, maybe in Dash we also have auxiliary manifest in future. So we also think that this model could be useful in future, not just for HLS. Maybe in Dash also it's going to be something useful. And as you can see here, this is the content that we are exporting in Dash. That it's very, very similar to the previous one we exported, the input file we have. I think I have to improve this presentation by putting both side by side. I will do it in the future, but you can check after that is very, very similar to the previous one. Just one thing to notice is that in the proof of concept, we only export segment lists in Dash. We don't do template list or whatever. That's something we have to work in the future. And to export to HLS, it will be very similar. You have to use the ham to HLS function. Again, it receives the input is an array of presentations, and it will again return a manifest. And as I said, the playlists are going to be in the manifest.auxiliary manifests of that object. And this is the screen cap of the output generated by the function. And it will return, if you see the code, I'm writing down to file system, the main manifest, and then all the I'm doing just for each in the ancillary manifest to export to file system the playlist. And this is a screenshot of what you got for the export. And so this is great, and this works. I will show you the example that you can run by yourself and try it and play some content. But before that, I want just to some key takes away from this proof of concept. The first of all is remember that this proof of concept is on SBTA Common Media Library. That just a note over there that the PR is in progress right now. If you want to check out the code, you have to go to the Qualabs fork in the Common Media Library, and the feature is CMAF-HAM. I will send you by chat this link. Also, remember to import content using HLS to ham or dash to ham. Then you can do whatever you want with the model, and then validate the presentation if you want to check if, at least with the 3 stuff we implemented, everything is okay. And export again the content using HLS to ham or HLS to dash. That will return to you the manifest model, and you can write down that to file system or do whatever you want. So I want to show you also a very quick demo. Let me share my screen and not the presentation. That this is something you will find in, here it is. This is, oh, not yet. Let me know when you see the screen. Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you. So in the Common Media Library, you will see we added like sample code to, hey, this could be a way to use this project. And we created this, if you go to Common Media Library samples, CMAF-HAM conversion. This is a tiny example. Here's are the instructions how to run. That we have some input folder with some dash manifests. For example, this one. And also some HLS manifest samples, like the main playlist, the main manifest, and the playlists, just random one, just to open. And the idea of these projects is that every time you execute npm run dev, it will create an output folder of all the, it will check all the samples you put over there, over the input folder, and it will return in the output four things. The first is ham JSON, that is the JSON export of the ham model, as I showed you previously. Also a validation, export of the validations done to the presentation. The multivariant playlist for the HLS version, and the MPD for the dash version of the content. If you see the in the code, this is very very simple. It will it has to path to where are the dash samples, where are the HLS samples. I will just list the directory, run against them, and call this function that will create everything. We'll just read the manifest, check if it is dash or if it is HLS, create the presentation or ham. This is the maybe I prefer to call it presentation. Run all the validations. That this will return an array of validations of all the presentations present in the manifest. save it to the validation JSON, write down the model, the presentation in JSON, also convert it, the presentation to Dash, write it down to the file system, and the same code for HLS. So if we just run that, it's npm run dev. Will be very simple, some warnings or whatever we have in the library. And you will see here in the output, you can see, for example, sample one, the Dash example from the beginning. This is going to be the let me open side by side. This. So for example, this is the input that we got in the input folder, and this is the Dash manifest created by the library, and so on. You can, for example, check, okay, what is the HAM model? Let me try to format. This is the model, the presentation model with the selection sets, switching sets for this content, the tracks, all the bandwidth, everything that was detected. This was the same example as the beginning with the undefined stuff. Also the validations, that it's an array of just a JSON object that says status true, and there is no error messages for this presentation. And the multivariant playlist for HLS here, with also saying, okay, this is the playlist for the audio track and the playlist for the video track, sorry, and for the audio track here, and the playlist over here. And so you can run and you can try with your own content. Again, remember that it's a proof of concept. It doesn't support DRM or low latency or whatever, but you can try it down and report bugs, for example, that it's great for us. And just create a folder, put your content over there and in the input folder, and the output will have everything you need to play the content. Also, in this example, you can just run, if I remember well, you can run npm run serve, and that will start a server with CORS enable. So you can go to web browser and just, I don't know, go to README, for example, to the reference player, this one, reference player, dash reference player, sorry, there. And in theory, this will play. Fest. So it's playing, and that's great. And of course, Big Bug Bunny. Yeah, I know. So again, this is the output, and you can try in HLS, any HLS player or Dash player, web player, the content generated. And if it doesn't work, you can report the issue, and that's great for us. So I think this example is great if you just want to try it out with and not think about how to use it. Just put content over there, export it, and try to play the content in your browser. And well, let's go back to the presentation. So that was the quick demo using that sample tool that it's going to be part of the pull request. So it's going to be part of the common library. Yay, you can use it. And of course, future work. Yes, we have a lot of stuff to do. For example, again, we have to work for sure as priority to export Dash content in segment templates. Uh, Nobody use segment list, so yeah, we have to export with segments. But for that, we are going to change the names. We have to control the names of the files and all that stuff. Remember that again. This project was made in a month and a half, but people also learning a lot and study the standard and everything. So I think we are very proud about the achievement we all the achievements we got from this project. Is just 1.5 months of work. Also, we want to integrate other tools to convert non-CMAF content to CMAF content. Of course, we are not going to redo in MP4 box stuff or FFM stuff, FFmpeg stuff, or whatever other library to work with in low level in the container, MP4 container. Also, we want to create more validations. And of course, support for manifest metadata import export. For example, what happens if your manifest HLS or Dash whatever has some content steering information? You want to convert the content steering. Maybe you want to convert the content steering information you have in the HLS manifest to the Dash format, or if you have some configuration for latency or whatever, we also have to take care of that. And if you see that's again, it's in the scope of the HAM library in the idea of convert whatever HLS to Dash, whatever, in CMAF, of course. And yep, the idea is to also work on that. And we need your feedback. What do you think? This is just our ideas and what we just talk about on the meetings we have. But the idea is also, if you have some thoughts on some ideas, or you see the demo or try it out and say, hey, I will love this in the common mail library, in the CMAF-HAM project, just bring your feedback. That's great. And one last thing, also, I will share to you the link. People from Qualabs also work in the summer camp, creating a user interface. I should see here Santiago Pupo that was working on this, and that was great. So they said, hey, what if we could create a graphical UI for the HAM model? So if you import the content and you can see all the switch, the tracks, the rendition sets, or not going programmatically, just maybe change the track. What I did, change the language to whatever and export again. Well, maybe you can do it online with a web tool or whatever. Or maybe we can just create it in this tool and add a player to just play the I don't know, this rendition of audio, and maybe it's a great tool for debugging or your content, or maybe to export a new content based on a previous manifest or whatever. Because again, it's just it's an interface of to use the same functions I showed you previously. And this is great. I will share with you the link of this repo. And those were the projects. So again, we are very, very, very proud about everything we did and we achieved. We had in this edition of the Summer Projects 23 contributors from 7 organizations. All the pictures of people here that they worked on 2 projects in different levels. Some people just worked on the trying to scope what is the CMAF-HAM. Other people just gave us advice or how to achieve things, and others just implemented stuff. Santiago, that he created the UI with also other people from Qualabs, and also showing to the sessions to learn more about CMAF and study the spec, and also, like, again, having this learning experience. I think everyone who were on some summer projects at the end, learned something new, and that's part of what we want to achieve. Also, we created 2 new modules on the common media library. We did a pull request to HLS.js that is approved. Yay! Thank you, Rob. And we created two proof of concept: the HAM library and and the HAM UI. So that's the overall results. So I want to thanks everyone involved in the summer projects, because it was amazing. Again, it was amazing to see a lot of people working on this and joining the conversations, learning very different levels. People just getting into the video industry and first time working with Dash manifest. And you can see over there, for example, Barry, he's in WOSA years ago. He knows a lot about this industry, and everyone putting their knowledge, at the service of everyone and learning, and just doing this because we believe in contribution and we believe in this community that it's great. We have a really great community. So I will send you this link. Again, I need your feedback for two things. First, what do you think about this presentation? Because I want to improve this presentation also. And what do you think about the projects? And if you have any idea, again, feedback for the Columbia Library, or feedback for the CMAF-HAM project or whatever, please share your thoughts. That's very, very useful for us. And I will copy this and nothing. Thank you. That's all.
Awesome. Thanks, Nicholas. That was I was really interested in what your guys are doing as part of the summer camp, and I know we've talked for a while before. I wanted to get you on and get you here to kind of explain it, because I think what you guys are doing, like you said, it's really just like the people who are involved and the work that you're trying to do is really it seems to have like a lot of benefit to the community as a whole. So really appreciate you taking the time
No,
for
thank you.
doing the
Thank you
presentation.
thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we have a few minutes. Is there any questions or anything anyone has? I have a couple, but I'll see if you can just raise your hand or unmute yourself. I guess would one of the logical conclusions of like the ham process is that you could maybe put that module before like hls.js to have it play an MPEG dash stream? Could that be used?
In fact, I think that yes. I never thought about that, but it could possibly, if you, I'm maybe Rob will kill me. I don't
Or vice versa, but
know.
like could I
Yeah,
feed like an HLS manifest
yeah.
to dash.js?
I think it could be possible because, of course, we have to finish the library now. Rob, don't cry. Because I think if we can write down some module like, hey, first import the content. If it's not HLS, just go through this library that will convert the manifest to the dash manifest
Right.
to HLS. So we could rewrite some stuff to do that kind of stuff. Never thought about that, but I think it's a great idea.
Right.
It
Okay.
could be a great proof of concept.
Because yeah, it just seems like using ham as
Yeah.
an intermediate format, like the player implementation kind of becomes less important as long as you have everything in that ham intermediate format. Then yeah, you can use whatever player that
Yeah.
you'd like,
I think there
preferably
is also,
HLSJS.
yeah, I think also there is a lot of the spec for CT8, the HLS dash interoperability spec. I think it's great because you see the lot of hard stuff we have to do, or sometimes there is no clear definition of some cases how to, hey, I have this in HLS, how to translate to dash, and maybe it's not so clear the way to do it. So I think we have a lot of stuff over there also to, that's part of the hard work we have to understand, to know if every case would be possible to convert, as you said, or maybe just a small kind of idea. Yes, I remember that the
Gosh,
what Rob says, the sash. Yeah.
I have to go look at that. I don't recall seeing that, but yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
What are some of the other top like targets for the CML, the Common Media Library, that you like are thinking of, or got like what was like something that you wanted to add but just didn't like fit the reach the barrier of the group?
Okay. I think also two things about the Common Media Library. Right now, that project is being led by Casey Okiani. He works at Paramount. And again, if anyone, maybe if you work in an organization that it's part of FVTA and you are interested in this, you can go to the playback and players and playback working group. And some of the discussions of stuff over there are about the Common Media Library and try to decide, not to decide the roadmap, but yet to know, hey, maybe we could work on this or that. And I think right now the idea is, again, the main goal right now is all the functions around the edges of players, again, all the stuff that we have copy pasted, to try to implement, to rewrite that on HLS and bring more value to players, as we saw with HLS.js, like just do refactor because refactor doesn't make sense. So try to improve also the players while doing this. And I think one challenge we have to take care about is, if now, for example, we have, I don't know, common access token on it's quite new, and also the streaming tracing, how it's called, the tracing new spec. I don't have the media tracing spec or whatever. You know, the idea to, like, maybe I'm wrong, but it's something like try to leave some breadcrumbs every time your segment or whatever it's packager adds like a breadcrumb to your segment, and then the origin to know what your segment, the path of your segment up to the player. So you have to debug or whatever, you can trace where your segment were sent or which packager create that segment or whatever. So that's a new spec created by CTA Wave. I think it's CTA Wave. So for example, if we are going to add some functionality to players, new functionality, commercial token of this one, or maybe CMCD v2 that right now it's been the working group is working on the new version of CMCD. So maybe instead of going directly to the player and write it down to HLS.js or to Shaka or whatever, maybe, hey, why don't we write it down on Common Media Library and then go to the player? So we try to, from scratch, for the new features coming for players or whatever, try to do it from scratch in a common place and then import to your own player or whatever. And I don't know if that response to your question, but
No, that makes sense. Like anything kind of new or common
yeah,
code, just try to extract
yeah.
that out. Neat.
Oh, for example, if you see some bug, instead of fixing it on the player, go to the Common Media Library and do it there, and move it the code, and just like, hey, I need to fix this issue with subtitles. Maybe it's time to move this function over the Common Media Library, and that's the place where you have the call to action. Like, okay, now that I have to change this, maybe it's good time to rewrite it. Take a little more time, move it down to Common Media Library, and do it, fix it in there, and import it in the player. So maybe as community, we know about this. Just if you, any of you find again a web BTT issue, you say, well, maybe I can fix this and take some extra time and move it to the Common Library, and also think it in the long term of players. It will be a great thing because you are contributing and also thinking, again, helping us all together in the long term with issues
Right.
on whatever.
Aaron, you had a question?
Yeah. If someone were to come along and want to re-implement ham support in a different programming language, how hard would that be? Is there a test suite? Is there anything like
Great.
that?
We have some test. You can check it out, the code. Again, this is very proof of concept stuff. So two things. First, probably will change if we continue doing this. And yeah, there is a small sample, some test cases. In fact, if you go to if you go to the common main library stuff, you will see the code is very simple. So you have everything is in source, CMAF-HAM, and everything is over there with a helper. Oh, I think I have some internet issues. Oh, okay, I'm back. Everything is over here. It's not very complicated. And all the tests we have implemented, again, we didn't put a lot of effort because more of the quick and dirty proof of concept idea.
Nicolás, you're sharing the Sash tab.
Oh, sorry for that.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry for that. Thank you. Thank you for the notice. 1 second. And here it is. Great. So as I was saying, common main library right now it's not in the main library because pull request is ongoing. Everything is on library source CMAF-HAM. So everything you need to export or to convert to, I don't know, Python or whatever is over here. It's everything here. And you will see also the test folder, and the same. You will find the test for CMAF-HAM, and here there is all the tests we had created. But again, we didn't put a lot of effort on testing because, again, more like proof of concept mindset. Yeah, and the idea is to, again, validate if this has value and you hit this is great. Okay, we have to think about what is the real MVP for this, and not just the proof of concept.
I guess kind of following up is nothing from the MPEG group contains like a ham validation or a ham implementation. Because like CMAF-HAM comes from the MPEG dash group, right? Like that's the original kind of definition.
Yes, in fact, it's not dash itself. It's just CMAF.
It's just CMAF, yeah.
Just CMAF, yeah.
But nothing in the CMAF definition test suite or definition document says this is how to validate CMAF, right?
Yeah, I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think that there is no. Maybe we can read, or maybe we have to. Maybe as the the devil is in the details. Maybe in the details of the spec, you can find this use case. Oh, I cannot do this. So maybe
I know some other standards they have here's the test suite that we developed.
Oh, okay. I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I think that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Well, I think that's it. We're a few minutes over, but thank you everyone for sticking around, and thank you, Nicolás. That was a great presentation, and yeah, hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day, and until next time.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.